Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise to ask question 75, 2017, to the Honourable Attorney-General and Minister for Economy, Public Enterprises, Civil Service and Communications. Can the Minister explain how and in what ways will the new codeshare partnership between Fiji Airways and Jet Airways of India benefit Fijians? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. I give the floor to the Honourable Attorney-General.
Madam Speaker, I'd like to thank the Honourable Member for this question. It's a very important agreement that's been signed between Fiji Airways and Jet Airways. But just for those members who may not necessarily understand what a codeshare is, Madam Speaker, a codeshare agreement is between two airlines where the airline operating a given flight, which is called the operating carrier, allows the other airline to market the flight and issue tickets for it as if the marketing carrier was itself operating the flight. So in other words, you get a footprint. So now, because we signed a codeshare agreement with Jet Airways, Madam Speaker, it means also they can carry their code. So, for example, when you go to Nandi Airport now, you will see the flight that goes to Singapore. It will also have FJ, and it will have the code for Jet Airways. When somebody goes in Mumbai or Delhi or Chennai, they will see the Jet Airways code. They'll also see FJ. So you are in the same way. For example, we have at the moment, when you buy a ticket, you're going on a Fiji Airways aeroplane, the metal or the aircraft, but you'll have a FJ or you can have a QF, because we have a code sharing agreement with Qantas. So it gives you a bigger footprint. And then if they have similar arrangements onwards, we also get FJ going onwards for us. So FJ, which is Fiji Airways, is marketing itself a lot more. But from a practical perspective also, it allows for the seamless carriage of your luggage. So everybody knows, you check it in Chennai, check it in Mumbai, check it in New Delhi, it'll go all the way through to Fiji. If you're traveling all that, they'll make sure all those arrangements are done. So, Madam Speaker, that's the advantage. And it also then gives you, Madam Speaker, a distribution network. So if, for example, somebody is flying from Fiji to Mumbai, but they want to go to Hyderabad, or they want to go to a city in Gujarat, when they get off in Mumbai, their bags will go automatically to the domestic carrier and onwards to their last destination. Madam Speaker, Jet Airways is at the moment 24% owned by Etihad Airways. So that strategic relationship of Jet Airways also gives us a footprint into wherever Etihad flies. So the footprint of FJ increases. I've got some statistics here. Jet Airways serves 68 destinations, including 48 domestic and 20 international destinations in 17 countries across Asia, Europe and North America. So what it does now, Madam Speaker, is gives us connectivity not with the second largest airline in India, but also gives us connectivity with one of the other larger international airline carriers like Etihad. Madam Speaker, India is very important. India is very, very important for us in respect of as an outbound market for us. India, I know somebody mentioned a couple of days ago about India being a very large market. Madam Speaker, it will become the largest market in the next 4 to 5 years, outbound market. The middle class is growing phenomenally. Unfortunately, in Fiji, we do have to do a lot of work because there's a lot of preconceived ideas about the Indian traveler. We don't think that they want to do destination or adventure sports. We don't think they want to do diving. We don't think they want to go and do and feed the sharks because we have a preconceived idea of the Indians. But if you see the market, and recently we were in India, they're going off and climbing mountains and going to Iceland and going through crevices and ridges and all of that. They want that. At the moment, Fiji is only being marketed in India as a honeymoon destination. Fiji is more than a honeymoon destination. In the same way, we want to tap into the Chinese market. The Chinese also have their different demands. They may not necessarily like the Australians and Kiwis like to suntan for 2 weeks on the beach. They have different demands. So our tourism sector needs to evolve also. Our tourism operators also need to start thinking outside the box. They also need to be able to know in terms of language issues, for example, the Chinese, the dietary requirements, for example, of the Indians. These are the kind of changes we need to make, but it is a strategic goal, an objective both of government through Tourism Fiji, and they obviously need to do a lot more work in that area, but also now through Fiji Airways to ensure that we place ourselves a lot better into a market that will be the largest outbound market. So this code share with Jet Airways, Madam Speaker, actually is very, very important for us, and we are very, very grateful. I'd like to put on record, Madam Speaker, the Indian government actually has been extremely helpful. We had an air services agreement, Madam Speaker, that was signed way back, I stand to be corrected on the exact year, but it's around about 1974. So our air services agreement was completely outdated. And the Indians actually bent over backwards to help us develop a new air services agreement. Air services agreement is the agreement at a bilateral basis between countries that actually governs the number of seats between each of the countries. We are currently looking at other services, air services agreement, and they're very critical. I know there was a point that was raised about liberalizing the airways. Madam Speaker, for a small country like Fiji, let me give you an example. If tomorrow we allow Etihad or Emirates, for example. Emirates at the moment flies on a daily, sometimes twice a day, from Dubai to Brisbane to Melbourne to Sydney. If they add on Fiji via Sydney, Fiji Airways can kiss the route to Sydney goodbye within 6 months. Because what will they do? They'll cannibalize. They will cannibalize. And you can shut down Fiji Airways. It's actually already happened, as I gave the example of Polynesian Airlines and all of that. In Trinidad, Tobago, Jamaica, Aruba, all of these countries, large numbers of American tourists go there. When they actually open up their skies, the national carriers all shut down. 6 months, 1 year's time. And I've got an article here which I can also share with them, how the tourism, the ministries of tourism in those countries are actually lamenting the fact that the bulk of the tourism spend in those countries now actually all go out. Because nearly everything that they have or that is sold to the tourists is ultimately owned by a foreigner. So the Fijian government and the Bainimarama government and later on in the Fiji First government, for example, the Minister of Agriculture, we're targeting, selling of local produce. The Reserve Bank of Fiji now gives an award if the chef uses local fruits, local vegetables, local root crops. We want the tourists to eat that so our people actually benefit from it. Similarly, air travel is a major component of that. If the national carrier no longer is the national carrier, but is simply the tourists are brought in by foreign carriers, all that money will go out of the country. So this is why it is critically important, Madam Speaker, for Fiji Airways to be strategically placed, develop partnerships. We have a codeshare agreement with American Airlines and many other airlines that we hope to have developed codeshare agreements with, and this is a very, very good move on the part of Fiji Airways. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Honourable Madam Munawar.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Just to put things in perspective, it's not only Fiji First who looked after Fiji Airways, Alliance, SVT, SDL, all looked after Air Pacific to what it is today. And in terms of airline profitability, it's all over the world. The cheap oil has made airline profitability the highest in years. Except for Africa, every other region is making profit. So we congratulate our national airline, but it is a trend that is global, with the world drowning in cheap oil and airline profits soaring. Question to the Minister. In terms of a partner for code share, where does Air India rate together with this one? Because Air India has a bigger network in India, very well established. Was Air India ever part of the dialogue? Thank you.
The reality is that Fiji Airways is in a much better position today because of many of the changes that have taken place today. They keep on harping on about Alliance, SVT, SDL. No, Madam Speaker, no. The Bainimarama government and this government, let's get the facts right, are the ones that made all the strategic changes. Yes, they were said yesterday, they said, electricity connections took place before. Yeah, but at what rate? At what rate? Honorable Bala was admonished in a way by Honorable Prasad for saying, why you want to tell us those people are crying and all this? It is a reality. Many of these people had paid their 10% deposit. There were 20 houses there. Only 5 paid it. The other 15 could not pay it. So they did not get electricity for years. For years. And this is before the Bedi Marama government's time. Whole list of places. That did not happen. It is happening now through his ministry and through FEA. This is the reality. Madam Speaker, I can go into the accounts of the Air Pacific and how they ran. Let me give you some examples because they brought it up. So it opens up the door for me, actually. Madam Speaker, they, Madam Speaker, were leasing a 767. Those of you who travel on 767, guess how much lease they were paying? $1 million a month. It's a fact. $1 million US a month. The 747s, that was 24 years and 26 years old respectively, they were paying $650,000 US a month. We got rid of that. We brought in the A330s. We had the financial gumption to do so. The government supported it. FNPF supported it. Today we don't pay those kind of ridiculous rates. Today we're in a position where we're refleeting the 737s. We're getting the 5 MAX 8s. Of Maxes, 737 Maxes, 5 of them. All of this, Madam Speaker, has been done through the Bedi Marama government, through this government. Let's get the facts right. Air India, we have no problem with Air India. And in fact, we wanted to do code share with both of them. But Air India wanted exclusivity. Air India wanted exclusivity. They said, you do a code share with us, don't do a code share with Jet Airways or any other Indian carrier. We don't want to do that. And in fact, we told this to the Minister, the Honourable Minister of Civil Aviation in New Delhi, and his officials were actually quite astounded at that. And in fact, in front of us, they rang up the Air India officials, and they said, why are you doing this? Why don't you go ahead and do this code share agreement? Quite happy to do that. We love to do it with Air India. The Honourable Member is correct. Air India has a lot wider spread, in particular, within India itself. Domestically, it's a well-known brand. Some may argue it's not necessarily run as well, but in fact, it's very large. And the fact it's got good connections. So we want to do that, and we're quite open to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. There being no other questions. Thank you very much. Honorable Samuel Anuriwalu, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Supplementary questions. Are there any new partnership arrangement or any new route or flight destination in pipeline? So, thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable
I didn't hear the question.
Can you just repeat your question, please?
Oh, sorry. Are there any new partnership arrangement or a new route or flight destinations in pipeline? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Flying to completely new destinations always costs a lot of money. And it costs a lot of money in marketing. There's landing fees. For example, Changi Airport has offered a discounted landing fee for Fiji Airways to land at Singapore Airport. San Francisco has also offered a similar arrangement. But as you know, that San Francisco, we used to fly there seasonally. Now we'll fly permanently to San Francisco. For the time being, it'll be twice a week. So we'll be flying twice a week to San Francisco. We fly nearly 6-7 times a week to LA. In the peak period, we fly 7 times. In off-peak, we fly 6 times a week to LA. We fly 5 times a week to Hong Kong. We fly twice a week to Singapore. In June, Fiji Airways will be flying for the first time to South Australia, because our tourism catch has always been from the eastern seaboard of Australia. Now we're going to expand in the middle of Australia. Hopefully it'll make people from Perth also attracted to come to Fiji. So Adelaide is a new route, but there's also constantly assessment. Sometimes the frequency of flights are also increased. So there's, in fact, we'd love to fly to Beijing, to be frank. And in fact, the A330-300 series can take us to Beijing, but we need to sort out the air services agreement with China. At the moment, the air services agreement, Madam Speaker, what the Chinese are demanding is not something that we are agreeable to, because they want 5th or 6th onward rights. What that essentially means is this. They want to do Guangdong, Hong Kong, Fiji, New Zealand. Guangdong, Singapore, Sydney, Fiji. These are the things that doesn't suit us, because it could also then cannibalize. So we have to, the Indians were actually quite good about that, they did not do that, but we're also hoping that we are very positive with our negotiations with the Chinese too, And once that is sorted out, we'd love to fly to Beijing, because Air China gives also very good connectivity out of Beijing to other destinations, in particular in Northern Europe and other parts of Europe too. Thank you.
Thank you. Time has caught up with us. And